Hey everybody, welcome back to Highway Blossoms. Last time we found a piece of the treasure by Shiprock, and we found out that the treasure is real. Who would have thought? And now we're gonna start looking for the other piece, I guess. We'll find out. A thunderous banging wakes me from a dead sleep, rattling the entire motorhome. Hey, I know you two are in there. You thieves better not still be sleeping. The muffled shout leaks in from outside, followed by another voice. Sis, it's not even 7. Can I go back to bed? And another voice. You're better off just rolling with it. For her, it may as well be noon. Open up or I swear Joe's gonna bust down this door. Wait, what? Gee, I wonder who this could be. I roll out of bed and open the slider connecting to the other rooms. Marina is sitting pressed up against the back of the fold-out bed with the sheets over her head. Who do you think it is? Take a wild guess. I march over and throw open the door. As expected, my 3 favorite people stand before me. It's about time. Do you have any idea how long we've been out there? A groggy Tess sways from side to side. Joseph's gentle hands are the only thing preventing her from passing out on the ground. It's funny that you of all people accuse us of theft. What else would you call what happened to my equipment? I don't know, borrowing? You loaned it to us, remember? Correction, Joe loaned it to you. Joseph gives a tired smirk and a wave. I was forced to sit idly by and watch you make off with it. That's theft if I've ever seen it. She pushes me aside and clambers into the motorhome, followed by the other 2. Looks like we're coming in. Good morning. Hey, you 3. Morning. How are you guys doing? Tired. For what it's worth, we tried stopping her. Mariah stomps to the middle of the motorhome, analyzing everything before releasing a loud scoff. So where's my stuff? If you don't get out of my RV in 5 seconds, it'll be shoved up your ass. Don't worry about it. You guys are great. Hey Tess, did you hang up your new wind chime? Tess's eyes flicker with interest for all of a second, then return to their obstinate, droopy state. Above my bed. What's up with the fold-out? You 2 don't sleep together? Mariah seeing what Marina and Amber probably don't even see themselves. What? Told ya. Damn it. Grumbling, Mariah pulls a bill from her pocket and slaps it in Joe's hand. Wow, for complete strangers, Mariah has certainly taken an interest in Amber and Marina. Does that mean we get to sleep in tomorrow morning? So wait, what's the connection there? Why does that mean they get to sleep in tomorrow morning? I understand that Mariah and Joe were betting on whether Amber and Marina sleep together, but does that have anything to do with what Tess said, or is Tess just saying something innocuous and Joe's humoring her? I don't know. I'm not sure I get it. The ringleader of the circus returns to inspecting the motorhome, fiddling with the magnets on the fridge. Anyway, give me back my equipment and we'll get out of your hair. Come on, just let them use it. It's the least we can do after tearing apart her car. Mariah's attention turns to the corner, topped with the open box of stunning gold nuggets from the night before. Why would you leave the gold out on the counter open? At least close the box again and throw it in a cabinet, or doesn't your motorhome have a safe? I don't know. I wouldn't leave the gold open on the counter where they could probably be seen from the window. That's like leaving your purse or another valuable, visible in your car. You're just inviting someone to break in. And whose fault was that? What is this? What is what? This thing on the counter. It almost looks like... Oh, that? Marina, don't you dare. Don't you dare tell her. Of course. Of course. Expect nothing less. That's the piece of the treasure we found. Ha, yeah, right. You're kidding. She chuckles. She stops. She is kidding, right? I have a devious thought and crack an equally devious smile. Nope, she's telling the truth, 100%. I wrap my arm around Mariah and bring her close. Joseph and Tess shoot each other alarmed glances. We found it last night, with your equipment. Ooh, that is bold. I'd be so afraid to say something like that to Mariah. I'd be afraid she'd murder me. She stands there, stupefied. No, that's impossible. You're lying. Really now. Hey, Marina, why don't you tell her about it? Sure thing. It started yesterday after we met. Amber looked at the journal again and thought that it might be near the smaller rocks behind the bigger one. They're called dikes, I think. Anyway, turns out she was right. Mariah looks down, muttering to herself. But how? Why wouldn't he just hide it on the mountain? It doesn't make sense. It was if he was going back to Missouri. Her voice diminishes until her words are reduced to lip flaps. Like a mad scientist trying to figure out a complex equation, she retreats into her own little world. Mariah? A smidge of sympathy buds inside me. I look to Joseph and Tess. Even they look a little shocked. Is she gonna be okay? I honestly don't know. Tess approaches Mariah, who's still whispering nonsense under her breath. Nonchalantly, Tess hops in front of her, her hand reaching upwards, trying to wave it in front of Mariah and bring her back to our world. No response. Tess pulls Mariah's arms skyward, then allows them to flop down to her side. Still, no response. You know, we've been looking into that treasure since we were kids. Joseph steps up to the counter and stares into the box. Never expected someone else to find it before us. That's more than I can say. I didn't even think it existed. There's that too. He sighs, then with a shrug cracks a smile. Well, good job anyway. You ladies seem cool, so if it couldn't be us, then at least it was you. You guys want to stick around? We could tell you more about it. He looks at Mariah. Somehow, I don't think that would be healthy for her. Or you. He grabs Mariah by the shoulders and begins pushing her towards the exit. Come on, Mariah. Let's go make you a nice cold michelada. I think that's how you pronounce that drink. I never order those. I think it's a michelada. You two can keep the equipment. Think of it as an apology gift. Because cheaply made tools I could get at any hardware store are of equal value to a car. They're almost out of the motorhome when Mariah flips and rushes back. Hold on a minute, thief! She looks me straight in the eyes, her expression returning to that of a piercing hawk. You just had beginner's luck. You might have found the first piece, but I promise you, me and my team will find the rest. She extends a hand and smirks. I pause for a moment, then grab it and offer a smirk of my own. You're on. Marina and Joseph both let out a sigh of relief, as if they've just witnessed the signing of a peace treaty. Well, guess that takes care of that. Now let's get out of here and go back to a proper base. Are you going to drink until you feel better again, sis? Shut up! Mom ever teach you any manners? You always said Mom is an airheaded ditz who wouldn't know good advice or a good man if it bit her on the butt. Oh, yeah. Sorry for all the trouble, ladies. See you two down the road. Joseph pulls the door closed. Marina and I stay put as the bickering of the trio fades into the distance. It's nice to see Amber being, it's nice to see, I feel like that last little interaction, we got to see some more of Amber's personality come out, which is nice, and we could see that she can be kind of proud and competitive and playful to some degree, too. Mischievous might be a better word, but anyways, much appreciated. Some more fleshing out of her personality and her character. Were you serious? About what? The treasure. You told Mariah that you were gonna find the rest. If you were just being nice and want to leave now, that's fine too. You've already done a lot for me. She casts her eyes downwards to hide her emotions, but I know better by now. And let you keep all the treasure for yourself? Hell no. Ah, see, there's Amber's playfulness coming out again. It's nice. Her eyes bounce back. Besides, someone's got to keep you from getting yourself into trouble. May as well be me. For real? But don't you have the festival to go to? It's still a little while away. I wanted to do some sightseeing anyway. Marina launches forward. Before I can sidestep, she tackles me with the force of a gold-filled freight train. I don't even try to resist. It's futile in the grace of Marina's hugs. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Actually, I probably owe you an apology. She cocks her head and looks up at me. I look away, my bashful side taking over. Well, you know, I kept saying it wasn't real and stuff. Hey, don't worry about it. Most people wouldn't even have given me the time of day. Yeah, but... Relax, just figure out where we have to go next. I smile. We walk to the front of the RV and take our seats, grabbing the journal from the glove compartment. I flip it open. I glance over the second to last entry. Key phrases like split path, detour, and acres of identical arched stone throw my brain into the deep end, drowning me in dizzying puzzles before I even fully read it. Marina peeks over, trying to decipher the entries with me. A speck of inadequacy crawls up inside me, and I quickly flip to the next entry before Marina notices I'm stuck. I'll deal with that later. For now, we'll just narrow this down. Much has happened since my last entry, so let me waste no time in beginning. As I mentioned previously, I'd begun to develop a cough of sorts during my travels. At the time, I thought nothing of it, just a result of being overexposed to the elements. After all, a handsomely rugged and worldly man such as myself should be used to such things. But I digress. Unless you got the hantavirus. That hantavirus does not care how handsomely rugged or worldly of a man you are. It will get you. Unfortunately, the more I continued under the blazing sun, the more my condition worsened, until finally my body gave out. The last thing I remember is falling off my steed. Sometime later, I awoke next to a fire, with my horse nearby. I myself could not move, as I was held down by illness and sweat, but I was reassured by a man sitting across from me. Upon further inspection, I realized he was a native of this land. I had several encounters with people of his sort during my time on the wagon trail, so naturally I was suspicious and fearful for the remainder of my gold. However, the man said he had no interest in such things. A dry, quiet fellow, the man told me his name was... I'm probably going to butcher this name if it's an actual native name, because I do not know native languages. And this looks Navajo, I want to say, but I don't know. So I apologize as I butcher this. Lamasai, and that I was in a canyon his people occupied, although they had been driven to a different segment of it some years back. His English was quite fluent, and when I inquired, he said he had learned from settlers as a boy. Over the next several days, Lamasai would nurse me back to health. We would never stray too far, as he preferred looking after his estranged tribe from a distance, but I was able to explore portions of his home. Eventually, I stumbled upon a long-ruined home built into a cave on the side of the mountain. Mesa Verde? Is that what we're talking about? Are we in Colorado? And are we at Mesa Verde? I don't know. Mesa Verde's not really in a canyon, though, or a gorge. Maybe not. To be fair, there are a lot of cliff dwellings in the Southwest, but the most famous is probably Mesa Verde. And considering this game already is referenced a real place like Shiprock, I assume every other place we will visit where the treasure is buried is actually real, which is really cool, especially if the writers have done their research, which I'm kind of convinced they must have, because Shiprock, with all the cultural politics being intact, was pretty impressive and well thought out. According to Lamasai, there are many more like it, though they originally belonged to enemies of his ancestors. It was then that I realized where I would leave the next portion of my bounty. On my last day with him, I informed Lamasai of my plans, where he casually promised to guard it for me until I returned. But before I left, he pointed me in the direction of a sacred landmark, one so giant and huge it would simultaneously be a conspicuous and inconspicuous hiding place. No. You're wrong. The huge places are always conspicuous because in our Western thought, we tend to think the huge landmarks are where the treasure and all the secrets are, which is really misguided. And clearly, people are going to find it now anyways. So, anyways. With that knowledge, I bid farewell to my new friend and trusted the gold in his care. Perhaps I will reward him with some of it in return on the return trip. You're my Lamasai, Amber. Suddenly, my chest feels like a hummingbird is fluttering around in it. I shift my eyes away from her smile and hide my face. Thanks. When you strip away the circumstances, I guess I did save and protect her like that Lamasai guy did with the miner. Well, thankfully, Marina didn't, get serious heat stroke being out in the desert with no air condition and no water. That would have been really sucky. But I'm sure Amber would have nursed her back to health, right? Either way. A gorge is like a canyon, right? Marina leans in close and points to the entry, strands of her soft hair tickling my cheek. I scoot back and power through it, taking a sharp breath to recollect myself. Basically, yeah. Marina nearly springs out of her seat in a burst of realization, her head an inch away from smacking into the ceiling. Oh my god, does that mean we get to go to the Grand Canyon? Do we get to go to the Grand Canyon, Amber? Not unless history decides to rewrite itself. Yeah, there are no ruins in the canyon walls of Grand Canyon. There are granaries, and there are lots of old ancient ruins there, but not actually embedded in the walls like a cliff dwelling and like what was being described. But Grand Canyon's a good guess. There are lots of canyons with ruins. One of them is Grand Canyon, but most of them have been cleaned out for hundreds of years. I choked down a groan. Indian ruins aren't exactly rarities around here. Maybe that other entry wasn't so bad after all. You know, unless it's Canyon de Chelly, if we were staying in Arizona, Canyon de Chelly is a big famous canyon that I think has cliff dwellings. I think. That or it's Tonto, but Tonto isn't as famous. The Salado dwellings at Tonto aren't that famous, and they're not that big. I bet you it's Canyon de Chelly. Or maybe we're going back to Colorado, and it's Mesa Verde. I don't know. I should just keep playing through. So we're looking for a place that was still being used in the 1850s. It's not Mesa Verde. Mesa Verde was being used by Europeans, I think, in the 1800s. In a sense. It wasn't being used by native people anymore, though. Marina hunkers down and thinks with me, wrinkles forming on her forehead as she tries to strain out an answer. I'm pretty sure she doesn't even know where to start, but hey, at least she's trying. Well, there is one place. Marina hardly gets a breath out before I crush her dreams once again. Not the Grand Canyon. She slinks back in her chair and quietly pouts. It's still in Arizona, but it's a different place. Canyon de Chelly! Ah, yes! I was right. I love it. I love all these references to real places in the Southwest. It makes me happy because it is an interest of mine. I love these old ruins as an archaeologist. I really do. I'm really surprised at Amber's extensive knowledge, though. She seemed to know a lot about reservations and the realities of them, and she understood the cultural politics and cultural history at Shiprock, and she seems to know what Canyon de Chelly is, which I don't even think most people in Arizona know what that is. You know, average white folk don't really pay attention to native history and native sacred places, which, surprise, right? But Amber's well educated, and I wonder if it's just because she's smart, or if there's some other meaning. I don't know. We'll find out. Maybe it's something she shared with her an interest she shared with her grandfather or something. Because only specific people tend to have such knowledge of the diversity and the cultural history of the Southwest, or of anywhere in the United States. Let's be real. the Navajo weren't chased out until 1863, so the timing isn't too screwy. Place is loaded with ruins, too. Oh, are they Puebloan ruins? My flow of information stops. She knows what I'm talking about? She can actually pronounce it? Yeah, I'm surprised you know that. Yep, I've been reading some of those travel guides lying around. Super interesting. Those things must be about as old as I am by now. I didn't have the heart to throw them away when I was cleaning everything out. Hey, that's how I did it. It's the best way to learn. Except all those old travel guides are probably incredibly racist and inaccurate, as a lot of them usually are. You might want to update your references, Amber. Just saying. Anyway, Canyon de Chelly is pretty damn close to here. She gasps. So it might have lined up with the route he took. Well, I can't be 100% positive, but... I close my eyes and snap the bookshelf shut, the air between the pages puffing out at us. Then with one eye open, shoot Marina a grin. I'm pretty sure. Whoa, quick transition. Anyways, I think that's a good place to end this one. So we will find out what happens on the way to Canyon de Chelly next time. Anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I hope you all take care. And I'll talk to you on the next one, alright? Bye-bye.